This video is made for adult collectors because this entire video was recorded a few days before they announced Cosmos and what's her name, Spitfire. So there's a lot of me saying, oh, this is probably the last Earthspark figure, because at the time that was the case. Pain. Yeah, that's pretty nice. Now it's gone because of Armada wheeljack. The toy that comes out during the very tail end of every toy line usually just gets shafted in distribution. One of the more famous renditions of this is like the last wave of Dark of the Moon, Soundwave, Wheeljack, and Leadfoot that I don't have yet. They came out in like a couple of regions and then skipped the rest. And as far as I know, this Soundwave is only released in the US and maybe a couple of Asian countries. Thanks to my buddy Dennis actually for finding this at a US Target for me. This is Soundwave from Earthspark, and why is it that the last figure to come out in the line is the best? Oh, and before I go any further, sponsor time. This video is brought to you by Tri-Treats. Tri-Treats is a snack subscription box service that delivers snacks once a month to your door from a different country every month. This month we got Philippines. I think we've gotten Philippines like last year at some point, but they're like all new snacks. And as per usual, my food allergies limit me from trying these, but they don't limit my dad.
It's like Cheeto style fries.
Whoa! I wasn't expecting. I thought it was a bag of chips.
No, it's a mocha cake.
Why is it huge?
It's a mocha cake. Not bad.
So yeah, if you want to check them out, the link will be down in the description below. Sunstreaker just fell over. And if you use code THATTOYGUY at checkout, you'll save 15% off your first box. So you can do that, link in the description below. Thank you very much, Tri-Treats, for sponsoring this video. Now back to the actual toy. I know we've had listings of a Cosmos, but now that Cyberworld's toy line has launched, I don't know if we'll ever actually see that. The figure, though, looks so good. I was a huge fan of Soundwave's design in the show, and the toy is nearly spot on with the bits of red, the yellow trim, and the 2 shades of gray. Oh, and the nice silver. I like how angular the toy is with the pointy head, shoulders, and the tapered body going down to his towers of legs. I also really like this shade of blue they used. It's dark, but not too dark. The details don't get lost, which is good. He's a pretty nice size too. Honestly, I might put him next to my TF1 Megs till they do a deluxe Soundwave from that film. He only really comes with a gun, and that's it. No minions. It does go on his shoulder though. The wings on the legs fold up kind of like the Last Night Megatron, but unlike the Last Night Megatron, they stick out a lot. It kind of messes with the silhouette of the toy when you put him in like a pose, because they become very noticeable. I love the head sculpt, the sharp red visor and the silver on the cheeks. I do feel it's a tad too small, but it still looks nice. Plastic feels pretty good. Most of the Earthspark Deluxes I owned didn't feel the greatest, but this actually feels fine. Not on the same quality as like Air Raid, but it feels better than like Aftermath. So Earthspark Soundwave's articulation is very, very good. Again, the best figure of the line comes out at the end of the line where people can't buy the last figure of the line. It's a little unfortunate. There are a couple of weird hindrances, but like for the most part, it's very good. So to start with, the head is on a ball joint, so we can look down that far and up that far on the joint, which is to say nothing. But then you have the hinge underneath, so you can look down that far and you can look up that far. You get a little bit of pivot, not really, but then the head can do a full 360 degrees. The shoulders are on a ball joint hinge stock, so they can rotate at the actual shoulder. They do bump into the wings, but you can move those out of the way to get the full 360. But then they have the trigger happy out shoulder thing, as well as this joint down here. So you can get them to go out a full T-pose, and it doesn't bump into the head, and it's not super awkward, which is nice. You do have bicep rotation, single jointed elbow that bends 90 degrees. The wrists are on ball joints, so they can rotate, and they can move up and down. That's more for transformation, but like, do I have a sword here? I need a sword. I want to put him in a sword pose. Prima's sword will have to do. But you can put him into sword pointing poses if you want to do that, so hooray. Prima doesn't want to hold his sword anymore. Ah. He does have a waist joint, and this opens. Let me see if I can get this open. His crotch opens. Oh, it fell right off. And I'm not entirely sure why this opens, other than to access the mushroom pegs in the hips. But yeah, this does open up. It's on a hinge and a 5mm or 3mm peg, or 5. I think that's 5. I could be wrong, but it's on a peg and a hinge, and it's weird. But the hips can go forward all the way. They can go back. They can go in and out. You have above the knee rotation. You have a little over 90 degrees of bend at the knee, so you can get the knees to go really high up, and you can get it some very nice kneeling poses. But then again, there's these with the thigh swivels. They do collide with each other, and that's a little annoying. And there goes his gun. The feet can go down, they can go up. You have ankle tilt at the ball joint itself and rotation, and you have this hinge joint. So you can get some very nice ankle pivot out of this. Let me go get the gun. The gun just tabs in back here. It's not the most secure connection in the world, and when you go to move the shoulders, it does bump into the gun, but fortunately, the gun can hinge up and out of the way, so that's nice. He's very, very posable. I just wish that these didn't collide as often. And I wish the gun stayed on better because it does fall off quite a bit. It's a little annoying. So I really like the look, feel, and build of this figure. My only real visual issues are the head size and the leg wings, but the rest of it it's just lots of fun. But what makes me like this Soundwave the most is that he turns into a frigging stealth bomber and does it so well. I'd say it does it a bit better than the actual stealth bomber Megatron they released for Thrilling 30. Alright, so this thing's transformation is very fun to do, and there's not a lot of stealth bomber transformers out there, and this doesn't really follow the sort of limb placement of any of those, which is great. So to start with, we're going to remove the gun and just put that off to the side. Then we want to take the head here, we're going to open up the chest, fold, which there's a lot of nice sculpted detail inside the chest there, which is very cool, but close this up and then close up that chest piece. We're going to then take the backpack, bring it up on a double hinge, and then rotate it 180 degrees. Take the arms, plug the arms together up here. Now you want to peg the arms into these little tabs on the side here, and I was very confused because I didn't see these gaps at first. I was like, oh, does it plug into the mushroom peg thing? It doesn't reach. No, it's these, so don't make that mistake. Make sure you look at the figure before you start shoving things in. Now these don't peg in super great, so you have to make sure that it's like perfectly lined up and then give it a really good squeeze into there. Rotate the fist out, and I find it's a little easier if you just like angle it ever so slightly on that ball joint. So we get that done on this side as well. Squeeze that together, angle that ever so slightly, and there you have the front of the stealth bomber all finished. Now we're going to work on the legs. So you rotate the waist 180 degrees. You then unfold this entire assembly here, fold the foot down. So do that on both sides. Then you want to bring it in, and it is going to peg into here, the little black tab, and a tab on the arm itself into these slots. And you really got to look and make sure that everything lines up properly, because if not, then it doesn't sit flush and it looks weird. So just get in there. It's kind of hard to see everything as you're doing it, but there we go. Then you take the feet, you fold them in. You take these wing sections, you fold them down at the back here. Then you take the actual wing tips, flip them out round, and then the gun plugs into here because that looks stupid. But there we have the stealth bomber, and like, it's a boomerang. It is really cool. That transformation is so fun, and like the robot's just here and that the rest of it is just wing. I like that. The silhouette is great. It's such a fun transformation to do back and forth. That is such a good alt mode. The wings are super thin. There is barely any underkibble. Like, there's a tiny bit, but it's super clean and blends in with the wings. I do wish the gun could store a bit better than like on the top of the jet, unless I'm missing something. I do also wish there was landing gear, but yeah. I really like how most of the gray just vanishes in this mode. It is all blue, but then you hit that striking cockpit section at the front. The whole thing just kind of turns into a giant version of his own face. It's such a cool toy, and it's a shame it's so hard to find. Like, if this came out a wave before, say with the release of Jawbreaker and Aftermath, then people would be able to snag it. I do recommend one if you can find it, but like, good luck with that. At the time of recording this, there are no copies on eBay. I don't know if it's gonna get a full worldwide release, seeing as the show has moved on to Cyberworld, which is great, by the way. You should check it out. Speaking of which, please Hasbro do deluxes of the Cyberworld designs. But that's been my look at Earthspark Soundwave. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.